Um, my name is Heather. I wanted to start a, a vlog so that anyone who's going through this knows they're not alone. Also, so that if someone out there has some helpful advice we can share, awesome. That'd be great. See, ignore behind me. I'm in my office at work. Also, you might hear a printer running. Ignore it. Um, hold on one second. Okay. So, I've always wanted to have kids. I was diagnosed about 8 years ago with PCOS. My husband and I have been trying to conceive for 3 years. About 6 months into trying, my gynecologist had me do an HSG test, and he put me on Clomid and metformin. When I went to the hospital for the test, the HSG test, the tech told me, this test is usually really therapeutic for couples that are trying to conceive. It works a lot of time to kind of give it that extra boost that clear out stuff. I don't know. It works a lot, So, it did. Less than a month after my HSG test, I got a positive pregnancy test. But the results of my HSG test weren't that great. My left tube was fine, but my right tube was closed, mostly closed at least. So I had to have laparoscopy surgery to open it. And apparently there was a bunch of scar tissue. The doctor doesn't know what it was from, where the scar tissue, why it was so much scar tissue. But they took care of all the scar tissue, and my tubes were perfectly fine. Then I had a left tube and a right tube, and they were both open, and it was all great. But after that positive pregnancy test, about a week after that, I had started spotting. And it was after hours at my doctor's office, so I panicked, and I went to the ER. And they ran blood and figured out that my HCG levels were nowhere near where they should be for somebody who was 5 weeks pregnant, which is what they said I should have been. So between the hospital and my doctor, they decided to continue to monitor my HCG and see if the numbers got better. A couple weeks later, and a lot of blood work, and they weren't getting better. They were going up. Instead of doubling, they were going up by like 5 or 10 or 20. So they determined that I was having ectopic pregnancy. So I then had to get a methotrexate shot to end it, which was depressing. It was actually Christmas Eve that I had to get it, so yeah, that was fun. So a couple months later, after my body reset, was back to normal, the doctor put me back on Clomid and metformin and referred me to a fertility specialist. I had to wait 3 months just to get the appointment because they were really booked up. And at that appointment, the doctor informed us that because of the damage to my tubes, chances for a natural conception was less than 1%. So basically, he said that in vitro might be our only option to have a child, carry it myself. So he took me off the meds I was on. He said they weren't really helping at that point because conceiving naturally was less than 1%. So, not a very high percentage. Well, the strange thing is, though, that 2 months after I was off the meds, mind you, I wasn't on any fertility meds, therefore, my PCS was out of control, and I actually got another positive pregnancy test. And since I'd already had an ectopic pregnancy, my doctor wanted to watch it closely. Unfortunately, that pregnancy was also in my tubes. So, my husband and I talked and thought long and hard. $20,000 is a lot of money. We don't have that just sitting around, we work hard. We both work. We both have jobs, but we weren't scraping by, but $20,000, that's a lot of money. But we decided to do the IVF because, I mean, he doesn't have any kids and I don't have any kids, and it's what we both really, really want, out of life. That's our goal. We want to have a family. But it was going to take a long while, to come up with $20,000. Working a lot of overtime, a lot of work, hard work, pinching pennies, and conserving money everywhere we possibly can. We started a GoFundMe page. We, asked for family and friends donations, which luckily we were lucky enough to have a couple of people donate. We probably had about $1,000 in donation between family and friends, co-workers and whatnot. But still, that leaves another $19,000 to go. Actually, it's just a little bit over $19,000 with the way we're having to do it. So we work hard, we save. Here it is a year later after we had been told that in vitro was our option, pretty much our only option, and we finally have almost all the money. We're like $4,000 short, and we're still saving. We still have a little bit of time before all of it is due, so we're just going to charge what we don't have, and we'll be done. We're finally there. So my start date appointment at my fertility clinic is March 27th, where we will find out everything we can, the protocol, everything. So now we're on to the current stuff. Okay. So the doctor's office told me that I'll be on Menopur 3 times a day for 10 days and Cetrotide for 6 days. And I'll also need Pregnol and a Lupron trigger. I researched long and hard for the cheapest meds. I'll be ordering from 3 different pharmacies to get the lowest prices possible, because it's a big part of the expense is the meds. It's expensive. But we're so excited. We don't have a fertility specialist here near us where we live in Indiana. So we have to drive over 2 hours to go to Indy. But we did get a little bit lucky because my gynecologist here partners with a fertility clinic in Indy. So I'll be able to do my monitoring here. So my ultrasounds will be at my doctor's office, and I'll go to the local lab for my blood work. So it works out pretty well. It's a little more, maybe a little bit more expensive than just doing it all in one place, but this way we don't have to drive 2.5 hours every time we need something, done. My doctor's office is actually closed on Friday afternoons and Saturdays, so monitoring on those days, we'll still have to make the drive to Indy, but it's a lot better than having to go there every single day. So it's a good thing. We got really lucky there, because I know another couple who's going through it. They work with me at my job, and they have to drive to Kalamazoo for every ultrasound, every blood work, all of it. They have to drive to Kalamazoo. So we lucked out a little bit there. So starting the actual process, I hadn't had a period in like 4 months, so the doctor put me on Provera so that I'd get my period. Once I got that, sorry. Once I got that, I started the birth control. They put me on continuous birth control, so I would take it 3 weeks and then toss the dummy week away and start on a fresh pack. So I started, I don't remember what date I started that, but I'll be taking the birth control until March 31st, and then I'll start my injections a few days after that. I'm not sure of the exact schematics because, like I said, my appointment is the 27th, and then we'll know exactly when we're doing everything. Let's see, what else do I have to say? I'm just trying to, I'll try to update everybody as we go along. Like, we don't know all that much right now at this point. We are going to do the way my doctor does. I mean, he does fresh transfers, but not very often. He prefers to do the frozen embryo transfers. And we are going to do the pre-genetic testing because I've had 2 ectopic pregnancies, and I had a miscarriage like 9 years ago. But we're just, with my age and the problems that we've been having, we just think that the genetic testing is the best plan for us. Plus, that's, I mean, my doctor prefers to do it that way. So it's worth a little extra to know that we're getting good embryos and that we don't have to worry about it. So right now, I think they said that the retrieval will be on April 14th, the way it sits right now, depending obviously on follicle growth and all of that. And then I don't remember the exact date. When I talked to them, they said something about May 15th, but then something also about June. So, beginning of June. So, the transfer should be between the end of May and the beginning of June, hopefully. That's where we're at right now, anyways. I just really wanted to kind of share what we're going through. It's been a long road to get to where we're at right now, and I just hope that maybe my story can help somebody out there, or like I said, if anybody has any advice that can help us, we'd love to hear it. That's all I have to share right now. Like I said, I'll update everybody after the 27th when we have our appointment, our start cycle appointment. So good luck to anybody who's going through what we're going through, and be safe.